Hello, folks. Welcome to Holding On with Holder, where I talk to interesting people about interesting topics. My name is Steve Holder, and I am your host. My guest this evening is Loh Yen Lyng. She is Marketing and Sales Director for A1 Environment. She is also a podcaster. Welcome. Glad to have you with me.
I'm so glad to be here. I'm so honored to be here. Thank you for inviting me on.
Well, you are quite welcome. Now, tell us a little bit about your background. Who are you?
Wow. Well, as you can tell from my introduction, I have my fingers in quite a few pies. I actually came from a digital media background. And from there, I went into filmmaking and documentary making. But I realized that I wasn't the best fit for it. And so I came out and started to use my skills in marketing. And so I was a self-learned marketer. From there, I went on into different industries, including, very weirdly so, waste management. And that's where I got, I grew my passion for waste management of all things. And when my colleague, he left and he set up his own company doing recycling, I joined him as sort of a ad hoc kind of thing. He asked me to go down and speak to his clients because I was doing public speaking, education to clients as well as the public. I went down to do it. And that's how I got involved in coffee recycling. But at the same time, I still do my marketing business on the side as on a freelance basis. And I also work very closely with this agency called Creatives at Work, where we match freelance creatives together with brands or businesses. And along with Creatives at Work, we set up this podcast called Freelance Creative Exchange. So even if you go out there right now, I'm the co-host on not all of them, but some of the episodes I am, along with the co-founders, where we speak to freelancers about freelancers. So I'm really everywhere.
Okay. Now, where do you live?
I live in Singapore. I'm so sorry I missed it out.
Okay.
I live in Singapore, sunny Singapore, which is not very sunny today, but.
Okay. Now, were you born in Singapore?
Born and raised.
Okay. And are you married, have kids?
No, right now I'm single. Okay. I do have a boyfriend.
Okay.
And it's something that my parents are very eager to see me married off, as Asian parents are. But with all the things on my plate right now, it's not the first thing on the top of my mind.
Yeah. Kind of too busy.
Yeah, that's right. But here I have to say that Singaporeans, we are a very practical sort, and I think that is still in me. It has to make sense for me, I think, to even want to take that stage in my life, because what for? Everything's going fine right now. So yeah, maybe it's when the time comes.
When the time comes, there you go. Yeah. Now, have you ever been to the United States?
I have actually.
Yeah. Okay.
But that was at least 15 to 20 years ago when I was just a kid. I remember San Francisco. Okay. I remember San Diego. It was a whole tour. Los Angeles. But where are you situated?
I am in Tennessee. It's a southeastern state.
I've heard of it so much. I think I really want to go.
Consider yourself invited.
Thank you very much.
Just holler at me when you get here and I'll give you a tour.
I'm looking forward to it. Once this whole pandemic even just lets us go anywhere.
Yeah. How bad is COVID over there? Is it really, really bad right now?
I think it's bad more in terms of the anxiety that the public feels. I have to say, statistically, the figures, we are not that bad as compared to a lot of other countries in the world. But the moment we see community cases, we're not able to trace them back to the origin. Where did they actually come from? And that's where people start to panic a little bit. But in terms of the numbers, we're still relatively low. We have 20 to 40 cases now each day, which is already considered high as compared to a couple of months ago. And that's why people are getting. Yeah, and we're a small country as well. We're just a little island. So I mean, that can also be quite scary, you know, once you see it pop up in the west, the east, the north, the south, and that's the whole country, literally the whole country. So right now we are in it's not really a lockdown. We don't call it a lockdown, but we are on the F&B establishments are still open, but we cannot dine in. We can only take away. When we go out, we can only go out in groups of 2. Yeah, but the rest of it is fine. Yeah. How's it in Tennessee then?
It's getting better, but we're doing a lot worse than you guys. I tell you, we're having still several thousand a day just in Tennessee. Wow. So.
Just in Tennessee.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's better than it was. So we're moving out of it. I hope.
That's good. That's good to hear.
So you're in marketing and sales. Now, what exactly do you market and sales? You mentioned something about coffee and waste management. So
yeah, so they are, well, my set lies in marketing as well as business development. So that is speaking to partners, talking to people, trying to form partnerships in any way that we can, be it as a customer-client relationship, or can we actually develop something together to offer to the audience and our customers. So when I do marketing, I do a lot of social media marketing for my clients. And so this can be clients that I take on as a short-term basis, or I have a lot of them actually on a retainer. So a month to month, I'll be making sure that their social media is up to date. They have content to post up. So that's what I do as a marketeer. Taking both of these skill sets, I apply it to the different businesses that I'm a partner in, such as A1 Environment, where we do coffee recycling, and we're the only coffee recycler in Singapore right now. I also take it over to Creatives at Work, where it's a media agency. So there are 2 very different companies, but I basically play around the same role in both companies where I'm a partner with. I'm also a partner in a mushroom farm called Mushroom World. It's a Singapore-based farm, but the farm is actually Thailand. It's a Singapore-based company, farm in Phuket, Thailand. So basically, when I'm a partner in any of these companies, I take my skill sets and apply it to any one of them. Yeah. So I do have my ad hoc clients at the same time.
Yeah. So I take it you enjoy what you do.
I do enjoy the part where I learn a lot from my partners, because they are literally the experts in what they do, and I come in just to help them do what they do better. So I enjoy that new experience, and that's why you see that I'm in different industries, because it's just so interesting. In terms of marketing, I like the sales and business development part, because again, it's finding problems to solutions to problems, you see. In terms of the marketing side, I do like it. I think it's very interesting, because I feel that marketing runs the world. That's the angle that I come in as. But at the same time, I get very jaded by it as well. Especially if you are on social media every day and you know how it works, and you're trying to manipulate the system in order for your own benefit, or for the client's benefit. And you know that literally everything that we see and hear is someone trying to buy you into an idea. So as long as I know how it works and I know how it affects me, I'm fine with it. I'm really fine with it. But at the same time, it's quite ironic that you can see that I do social media for a lot of people, but my own social media, it's quite stagnant. It's just because I do so much of it for other people that I don't want to do it anymore when it comes to my own profiles.
I
Yeah.
understand. So are any of the companies that you work for international, or is it just are they all just in Singapore?
A lot of them are here in Singapore. Our businesses might, or the activities might reach around the region, but not much further than that so far.
Yeah.
Mm.
So how do I know if my coffee grounds have been recycled or not?
Okay, don't worry. When we are recycling coffee grounds, it doesn't mean that we are taking it back to become a new, repackage it into drinkable coffee again. We are trying to find solutions to make it, to valorize it, basically. The most obvious one, it is being made into compost. So we send it to local farms after we have sorted it, after we have processed it a little bit. We send it to local farms where they can use to grow vegetables. We are also making a material out of this coffee grounds, a fire retardant material, which we hope will one day become a norm in everybody's houses, where you see the furniture is made out of this material. The doors are made out of this material because it's fire rated. And at the same time, we're trying to find different ways that we can make use of this used coffee. Because if I don't know, how do you drink coffee at home?
Oh, I do. I do.
How do you make your coffee?
How do I make it in coffee pots? I mean,
That's good because a lot of
what? Okay, you froze up.
oh, sorry.
Okay, now you're back.
Am I back?
Yeah, you're back, but there's about 10 seconds there. You didn't move and I didn't hear you.
Okay, let me repeat that then. So in Singapore, a lot of, and actually in Southeast Asia, a lot of us drink instant coffee, where there's only sugar and creamer added to it, and the whole thing dissolves, and you don't see the amount of coffee that you consume. But once you start brewing coffee in, in a coffee pot, in a in your French press, or any way that you use the grounds itself, you have to throw the grounds out after that. And it's only then that people realize, oh man, I'm producing a lot of waste just from drinking coffee.
Yeah.
We're not talking about any other type of food waste. It is just coffee. And then that is where people start to, I think we've been lucky so far in Singapore. We get a lot of inquiries without us having to reach out. So it's very passive inquiries, a lot of passive customers coming in, where I didn't have to do much sales in order to approach them. But yeah, that when you drink coffee, imagine you take about 20 to 30 grams of coffee in a tablespoon to make 1 cup of coffee. When it's wet, it is actually double to triple the amount its weight. So you're throwing 50 to 60 or even 100 grams of coffee away at this point of time. And how waste management works all over the world, we measure the waste that we produce by weight. So a cup of coffee can go anywhere from 50 to 100 grams of waste being produced just at home. We're not even talking about the production of the grounds itself.
Yeah.
So we found that it's a huge problem. Unseen, unheard. And if you have a garden at home, that's great. You just toss it out and that's fine. But when you live in a metropolitan city, there's not much place. That's not an option for you a lot of times.
Yeah.
Even if, like for me, I have plants around the house, but I can't throw as much coffee as I'm consuming into those plants as well. So what do we do with it? And if you think about it, the amounts of coffee that we consume every year worldwide. Okay, let's just talk about Singapore. I won't talk about worldwide. Singapore imports about 6 million kg of kilograms of coffee grounds. There's 6,000 tons of coffee grounds every year. If you multiply it by 2 or 3, which is the weight that we throw away, that's 18 to 25 tons of waste just from us drinking coffee.
Yeah.
I mean, just there is, I'm not asking you to stop drinking coffee because I drink it almost every day myself. But it's a problem that I think everybody needs to look at. And it's not only coffee, it's tea as well.
Yeah. So can private citizens in Singapore save their coffee grounds and maybe sell them to a recycling company or something like that?
So right now, the service that we provide, it's chargeable. So if you want us to go down and collect your coffee grounds, we charge you for it. It used to be a point where, and I fully believe in being charged for the waste that you produce. I think the issue with a lot of recycling systems, not only in Singapore as well as around the world, is that people expect to be paid for the waste that they produce. I mean, it's great. I feel great about it as well. We used to have this, what we call the rag and bone man. In Malay, we call it Garanguni. So he comes around to the houses, individual units, and he sees whether you have paper you have to dispose of, whether you have your old TV that you have to dispose of, clothes, and he pays you for whatever you want to get rid of, and he'll collect it back. But and I'm sure other countries, maybe in Tennessee as well, if you bring your recycling down to a certain place, they pay you for it, which makes sense to a certain extent. It makes sense if you are bringing it down, because then that person saves on transport costs maybe. But if I have to come and collect it from you, and we know that this is waste and there's more demand than supply right now, or more supply than demand, I'm sorry. Yeah. There's more coffee grounds than what we know to do with them. Yeah. There's no reason for me to pay you for it, because I'm getting rid of your waste and trying to make use of it somehow. So this system, I feel, of being paid to produce waste is essentially flawed all over the world. And I think this is the reason why a lot of people have this hurdle, they don't see the point in recycling, or they don't see the point in services that help you collect your waste a lot of times.
So how is Singapore doing in the way of protecting the environment?
We are doing, we have a National Environment Agency, which runs everything from, of course, the environment to even, the health and safety, the hygiene in our hawker centers. We have lots of hawker centers here in Singapore and food courts, to even public toilet hygiene. But in terms of the environment itself, I have to say that they're doing their best. We, especially in a country like Singapore, where we call it complaint city, literally everybody, we love to complain. And the biggest thing we love to complain about is the government. So, yeah. Well, we do that too. Yeah, I think it's a common factor in a lot of places, actually. But with all of that, they are actually doing quite well. Definitely, I think we are not perfect. They are not perfect. I don't expect them to be, but they are doing the best that they can with our limited resources. We or even the things like food security and us having to develop faster in order to house more people, because the only resource that we have here is people. We don't have any land resource. We don't have water. We have nothing. We are such a small place. So we need to accommodate all these people, but to accommodate all these people, there are going to be certain certain sacrifices for now, at least with the technology that is in place. So they're doing the best that they can.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
what is the population of Singapore?
It keeps changing because we keep growing, but I think it's around 6 million right now. I think so. Don't take my word for that. I think
You
it's
haven't
around 6
counted?
million.
Uh,
So it's a lot of people for such a small island.
yeah. Do y'all have any racial issues over there?
I would love to say no, because we are a multiracial country. Even I grew up every day saying the pledge about how we are multiracial, multi-religion, we are super tolerant. But you do still see in the news, and actually there's a lot of ingrained racism, underlying racism that a lot of people hold. I might even hold it myself without me knowing, because it's it has become a culture more than an actual deliberate thing. So we have to be very conscious sometimes of what we say or what we do. Are they ingrained in racism? Generally, everyone lives harmoniously together. We are next door neighbors. Our churches and our mosques and our temples are right next to each other. It's all fine. Everybody's happy, but you just need one or two people, right, to spark that fire, and then suddenly,
Mess everything up, yeah.
yeah, that's right.
I wish I could say we didn't have racial problems in the United States, but we definitely do.
Mm.
And if you watch anything about our country on the news, I'm sure you notice there's a lot of anti-Asian hate, and that is totally,
Especially now,
it's
right? Because
awful.
of the
Yeah, it's horrible.
I have to say it's not only between races, because I mean, my ancestors came from China, and even when the pandemic happened, oh, oh my goodness, the xenophobia that came out.
Yeah.
And actually, it was already there before that, because a lot of people feel that the Chinese are coming over to take our jobs,
Yeah.
and I mean that phrase, right? Go back to your country,
Yeah.
comes on so many times, but it's especially I know it's wrong on all levels anyway, but especially in Singapore, where we are literally two generations, sometimes even one generation away from that own country.
Yeah.
Because people came here. We were a fishing port. So we came from all over Southeast Asia, all over the world, actually, and we were British colonized back in the day. So we were born as a nation, as a multiracial country. And there is no going back to the country, because if we all go back to the country, there's no one here but the fishing villagers
Yeah.
who started in the first place. So we all have no right to this place. So it's just mind-boggling to me
It
how
is to
people
me too. Yeah.
yeah.
I just don't get this whole hate thing. Why do people hate each other just because they're different? It's ridiculous.
And there's only so much you can say to that, because once you've exhausted the logic of it, because it is logical,
Yeah.
they still go on hating, and yeah, there's nothing more to say to it anymore.
So, what do you think about the current state of the world?
I think every generation has its challenges, definitely. I don't think we can actually complain. If you ask me to go back 50 years ago, I wouldn't want to live in that time. I'm a super pampered third generation Singaporean. I grew up in, I wouldn't say riches, but I'm very comfortable where I am. I can't say the same for even my dad or his parents. Um, so and even all around the world, sometimes I read about history that is even just 30 to 40 years away. And I think like I really don't want to go back to that time. So we are improving. Nothing's perfect, definitely, in the world. And I think the fact that we know that it's imperfect, it means that we're finding solutions. We're trying to find ways to solve it. And that in a way is actually quite heartening to me, that it's, people are not just content the way they are sometimes, even though I wish that we were. And then maybe the world would be a better place. But if you know that there are problems, that means you're out to solve them.
Yeah. Hopefully. Some people just want to complain about them.
Some people just want to take advantage of the situation.
Yeah.
And that's where it also goes wrong, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, I thank you very much for being my guest. Is there anything else you want to say that I have not given you an opportunity to say about anything?
No. Thank you so much for inviting me on. I just want to say to everybody to stay safe, stay united. It's not just about borders right now. I think the whole world has to stay united, stay strong together. So yeah, I hope one day there'll be no such thing as borders. We can visit each other anywhere we want, anytime we want as well. Yeah. But thank you so much. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity as well, Steve.
Well, thank you very much. And folks, thanks for tuning in to Holding On with Holder. Please subscribe to my channel and feel free to share this video all over social media. And don't forget this lovely lady who's been here. Her name is Loh Yen Lyng. Did I say that right?
Yes, perfect.
Okay.
Really.
Okay. Well, I'll let you go, and thanks again for joining me. And see, it's morning where you are, so have a nice day.
You have a great evening.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.